Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
Wow, that was interesting. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Global Radio address for January 18th. This is one of the hosts for today, Thunder.
And I'm Danette, the other host. What's going on?
I don't know. She's haunting us.
Okay, I think I know.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the...
Oh, you're hearing the delay. That's what you're hearing.
Okay.
All right, you got that squared away?
I think so.
All right. Well, it's been a while, obviously, that I've been on Blog Talk because it's all different here. So bear with us if we make a few little oopsies.
Yeah, because isn't that where it started? I guess we should let people who don't know us or the radio where we come from, sort of, let them know what it is a little bit.
Right. That's
a little background.
Yeah, Z Radio actually didn't start out to be Z Radio, but I did get my start right here on Blog Talk. Started out as a show called Truth or Fiction, actually, based on my understandings of Zeitgeist, the movement, and I was really into Acharya, the person who was helped work on part one of the first Zeitgeist film. She was on the show. It just seemed an appropriate title at the time. And then I started getting into the Venus Project stuff, and so I changed it to TVP Radio.
Oh.
Interesting enough, huh?
I did not know that.
Yeah. And it stayed that for a little while, maybe like 3 shows or 3 episodes or something. And then I just thought Z Radio made sense. And so it's been Z Radio ever since. And we've gone through quite a bit, from Blog Talk to Talk Shoe. We had a different co-host who had to go and do his own thing. And I thought, with the ironically collaboration of a couple other people, that we should bring the female element into the show and balance it out that way. And I asked Danette if she would be willing to come on and help co-host the show. And, of course, she agreed, and here she is.
Yep, and has been for almost a year now.
And during that time, the show has evolved into actually being on video now.
Yes.
On ZDN, the Zeitgeist Broadcasting Network, with which Danette and I also created, I guess you could say.
Yeah, in order to, along the lines of this collaboration topic that we're talking about today, in order to collaborate within the movement and without, actually. It's not just movement related, but anyone who would be interested in broadcasting their shows on a network, we wanted to create that platform.
Right. So
that it could be a place for people to go to see conscious media of some sort.
Absolutely. And we broke the ground on ZBN, it's been 6 months or so now?
Something like that, yeah.
And
like 6 months.
It started off a little slow, but we're adding new shows on a semi-regular basis, it seems like, lately. And
yes, now we're up to 5, I believe.
5?
Still adding more.
Right. So
it'll be the Z channel.
The Z channel, there you go.
Like saying, what's on Channel Z today?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, that's the goal. That's the vision.
Right. Our vision is that it be broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But to do that, obviously, we need a lot more shows than just 5. And also, I want to make sure everyone understands English. That's kind of ironic that none of the shows don't have to be in English.
Right.
If you're from Italy or South America or wherever, and you'd like to put together a show in your own language, absolutely welcome.
Yes. Yeah, it'd be a common ground for everyone to go and with their own expression.
Right.
From wherever they are.
Exactly.
So that's a little bit about Thunder and I. Do a weekly radio show on Z Radio, which airs on ZBN. And we also work on the Zeitgeist Movement blog.
Right.
Which spearheaded a while back. I believe it was about a handful of us. We're working with the newsletter. You were working on that before I was.
Yeah.
The physical newsletter. And then when I popped into the game, I said, is there any way we can put this online? So make it a little easier, more efficient,
right.
A more global feel to it so more people can contribute. And it took us about 6 months of working on it to get it to where it is, to where we can launch it live, which we launched, late October?
Uh-huh.
Was? So, and it's going very well. It's going very well. People are contributing some great articles. And what we're, as the editorial team, what we're hoping to achieve is more help at some point, more collaboration,
right?
To get people to come and be editors and be proofreaders and publishers, and we train people to do that, so it's not a problem, and also translators.
Yeah, that's actually something we're going to have a strong need for. We need it right now, but we're going to, as it becomes busier and busier, we're just going to need more help. I'm the only proofreader right now. I'm the only one that does the proofreading, and it'd sure be nice if we had at least one other person.
Right.
But it'd be nice to have redundancy in all the departments, if you will.
Absolutely. And so if anyone is wanting to and willing to help with that, please get a hold of us on the blog. You can go to the website for the blog is blog.thezeitgeistmovement.com. Down below at the bottom of the page, you'll see a link for the email, which is blog-info@thezeitgeistmovement.com.
Awesome.
So there's that. And then also, more collaboration, more help with the ZBN network. We always are looking for people to help with, not only you have your own shows, but anyone who wants to work behind the scenes. We have a virtual studio, if you will, where our producers, the ones who switch the cameras and stuff, it's all online. And it's a really easy software that anyone can learn to use.
Right.
But it would be really great if we could have someone doing that behind the scenes, and then we could just be the talent and not have to be dealing with the technology and be the talent.
It's quite a juggle. To be in the booth and be the talent behind the mic, behind the camera as well.
Yes, exactly.
But we manage.
We manage so far, but if anyone's interested in that, I'd like to throw that out there as well. Right. And you can send an email to zbnnetwork@live.com.
Right.
Or you can go to zbnlive.com, the website, and that'll take you to us as well.
Right.
So that's a little about us and what we do in the movement, who we are, in case many people probably don't really know yet, so we wanted to fill you in a bit on that.
And now they know.
So, moving forward, we wanted to make an announcement outside of that about the upcoming Z-Day in Vancouver. The main event is in Vancouver this year. There'll be plenty of events around the world, I'm sure. And once people submit their events to the calendar, we'll know more about those other events happening in other areas. But right now, the main event is being announced on their website, and their website is HTTPS. You have to use those instead of the www. And zeitgeistvancouver.com. And that's on March 9th, 10th, and 11th in Vancouver.
Well, I hope it's in Vancouver.
Well, yes. And I don't even know if it's on the 9th, actually. I know it says on the website, but it may just be the 10th and the 11th.
And I heard a rumor that Brandy's going to be there, and that you're going to be there.
Well, I'm not speaking.
You're going to be there.
Well, I haven't bought my ticket yet. So I plan to be there. I plan to be there because I would like to meet all these people that I've been working online with for over a year now and have not met in person.
Aaron
and Federico and Brandy.
Federico's going as well.
Yeah, Federico's speaking. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm definitely planning on going. Have to get my ticket. Did not intend on having to pay for Burning Man tickets this month. So
wait, what? Already?
Yes. Already. That's why I'm a little delayed in getting this other ticket, because I'm going back to Burning Man and going to be with Camp Zeitgeist, which we had at the 2011 Burning Man. We will be having it again, 2012 Burning Man, and it's going to be twice as big, I'm sure. We're getting a lot of interest already. Those who don't know, Burning Man is a week-long festival that happens at the end of August every year, and it's a moneyless society. And there's lots of art and creativity and music, and where people come from all over the world for 1 week and live in a moneyless society. It's a
very cool skeleton wheel.
That was one of the art installations.
I love that thing.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of art and creativity, and it's really wonderful to be there, but it's also a lot of progressive people present and very open to the idea, obviously, of a moneyless society, because they're experiencing it. So we handed out over 700 DVDs in that week, and we screened the films every day and got a lot of interest. And so it was very successful, and we're definitely doing it again. Our camp was built after the Venus Project prototype of a circular city. So it was a circular camp. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. So going back.
Since we're mentioning this, we talked about possibly broadcasting live episodes, if you will, from Burning Man.
Yes, that if we can do it, we'll do it. It'll be very difficult because it's out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Not a lot of communication, but I did see people on their laptops this last year.
Okay.
So it might be possible. Okay. One place that is definitely possible is on Z-Day at Vancouver, which we will be broadcasting that live on ZBN.
Yep.
So, March 9th, 10th, 11th, visit zbnlive.com, and if you're not there in Vancouver, you can watch it online via the live streaming.
Right. We'll be streaming live on ZBN for the Z-Day, the main Z-Day event in Vancouver. So mark your calendars. If you can't make the physical event, obviously not everyone can. You can watch it online on ZBN.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know if anyone's chatting right now because I had to close that window.
No, actually not.
Okay, all right.
Pretty quiet in the chat room right now.
Okay, well, that's what I was closing because it had feedback. So let me know if anyone has any questions.
Someone actually, Pete sub Pete says, be worth going to Burning Man just to see Danette hula hooping.
Yeah, you have not seen anything. There are some amazing hula hoopers. Amazing. They get paid top dollar actually to do what they do around the world, and these people perform all the time at Burning Man, just share their talents, So.
Oh, and Joe Park says it's too bad that TZM's Austin, that Zeitgeist Live isn't on the Z channel on ZBN. Not like we haven't tried, Joe.
Huh?
Not like we have tried. We have invited them to come on ZBN, and it just hasn't worked out yet. So.
Yeah, there's been a technical issue because they actually have a studio that they work out of.
Right.
And there hasn't been a way to link it yet. But we're still working on it. I am determined to get them on this channel because I know that they'll do really well, and it'd be great to share that with a wider audience.
Right, absolutely.
I like what they do there.
I think it's something minor. I think we'll work it out. So.
Yeah, so it'll happen.
It's not a dead deal. It'll happen.
Not at all. So, okay, well, so there's our announcement.
Okay.
And let's get on to the topic.
Let's do it.
For the day. So today we thought we would talk about collective collaboration versus competition, because a lot of the things we were just talking about, the radio, ZBN, the blog, and, of course, the movement at large, is about collaboration. So that's basically what we're trying to do, is create these projects that foster more collective collaboration and emerge away from what our culture generally breeds, which is competition.
Right.
And so let's discuss competition first. so that we can get that out of the way and then talk about what we want to see in the future. More of in the future. There's already collaboration, but there are new ways coming about.
Right. We need more.
Yeah. So the competition model, I think we're all very familiar with.
It permeates our culture.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Everywhere and from a very young age.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you think about it, just even in school, on the playground, in your homes as children, even preschool,
right.
Before you go to school, parents sometimes unknowingly, unwittingly, teach their kids to be competitive with one another.
Yes.
Who's going to get there first? Ice cream for the first to do whatever.
Right.
Go to sleep or something. So there's competition just everywhere we look.
And a lot of it's subconscious. I mean, look at the games we played when we were younger. Whoever gets to the pole first wins.
Right. Yeah. And
always win something, but just the idea of winning and competing to win, to be quote unquote the best or the fastest or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, the excuse for competition has always been, well, that's motivation. That's how you motivate. That's how you get people to do something.
Right.
And the studies have come out now. We actually just did a Z-Radio show the other day on intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Right.
But on this topic of competition, that's how those two topics are tied. Motivation comes if there's a competition.
Yeah.
But the studies are showing that's not necessarily true.
Right.
And one of the people that I really respect in some of the talks I've seen of him is Alfie Kohn.
Uh-huh.
And so he talks about this pretty specifically in a clip that we have that we'd like to share with you guys.
Okay.
So why don't we start with that?
Let's do that. This is about 2 minutes long, so we'll be right back.
Why should I trust you if you're my competitor? It's irrational, and all the empirical evidence suggests just what you would expect. People who compete, or people in competitive situations, communicate less effectively, are less trusting, are less sensitive to other people's needs, and less able to take their point of view, to do perspective taking. Kids who are cooperative, or adults who are cooperative, find that those skills are all increased in amazing ways. People sometimes ask, does competition cause aggression? Competition is aggression. The only question is whether it will occasionally manifest itself in outright violence. It is an exhausting process. We are at loggerheads. We are working at cross purposes, and we do it in sports, and we do it in the classroom, those spelling bees and competitive grading systems. Long after kids forget how to spell some long word, or forget who the 12th president of the United States was, or any of the binomial equation, what they remember is the fundamental lesson of any competitive classroom, which is other people are potential obstacles to my success. That's what we teach in competition. And no kind of competition, not even no parent who says, okay, who can get into the pajamas fastest? No competition, not even a nice game of underhand softball, which is more underhanded than we might suspect. No competition at work, friendliest employee, let alone for bonuses. None of this is innocuous. It all strengthens and reinforces and fortifies this message that sets us against one another. The question is not, do we need some competition? The question is, which kind is worse than the other? And that's why I'm suggesting that we have to work not merely to change our individual selves, not merely to go to psychotherapy and look deep within to find why I'm being competitive. I'll tell you why you're being competitive, because you live in a society that demands it of you every day of your lives. And until we make structural changes, it is self-deluding to talk about the prospect of merely working from within out. That's good, too. I heartily recommend to you that you stop yourself and say, why did I interrupt them again? Why do I see this need to prove how clever I am? Why don't I just sit and listen and maybe learn something? That's great stuff. But it's not going to get very far until we change our recreation and our education and our workplaces and our families so that competition is no longer required. That's a harder task. And we Americans are very suspicious of any kind of structural change. We love to blame individuals. You're poor? You're just lazy. Get a job. You committed a crime? You're evil. Put you in jail for the rest of your lives. Kids aren't learning in school? Teachers aren't any good. You need more homework, etc. This lets us off the hook very easily, instead of looking at the deeper social and economic causes of these kinds of attitudes and these kind of behaviors. And that's what we have to change.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very true. I love how he delivers the information.
He's so passionate.
I know.
Almost to the, he steps up to the line of disdainful in his tone a little bit at the beginning there, and it's like, wow. But he's right. It's deplorable to think of some of the, okay, here, take a recent example, Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He died, okay? People had to get to the front of the line, and they didn't care who they stepped on, stumbled over, tripped over, whatever. They had to get to the front of the line. They had to be the winner, the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
Ridiculous.
It's throughout our entire culture. Competition. Dog eat dog kind of thing. And it's nice to see that some things are changing, but we need a lot more change for sure. One thing that Alfie Kohn said, not in this, but in that hour-long talk that it was taken from, that I thought was interesting, among other things, was that competition, the competitive method, actually breeds dependence. You would think it'd be the opposite, be independent, sort of a solo person saying, right, I'm the top, whatever, I'm the best at this, and I don't need anyone else. So you actually do need people because you need someone to beat.
Yeah.
And there's less control of the outcome. They did some study. He didn't go into it too deeply, but something about people who are not competitive but are collaborative feel as though they have more control over the outcome of situations.
Right.
And those who are competitive don't. So there's a feeling of less control.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling they're out of control.
Okay.
Kind of thing. But those who collaborate and cooperate are the exact opposite, which takes away from the anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
That someone would feel in any situation.
Right.
Because if you go to any competitive situation, there's always some sort of anxiety attached to it.
Oh, yeah, always.
Especially if you don't know the outcome.
That's what feeds it. That's what feeds the attraction to it, is that rush, that adrenaline rush. I don't know if it's what it is, serotonin, something.
I don't know, but that and the fact that people really think there's alternatives. Because even in the questions that people pose to refute this ideology,
mm-hmm.
But if you listen to the questioning, you'll know that they come from a position of, well, there's no alternative. This is either they think it's human nature, or they think that that's the only way to really get people to do anything.
Right.
And
the infamous, well, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that's what people are surrounded by in their environment, so they believe that that's just the way it is. But if someone posed a question to Alfie in this talk that he gave about how do we challenge ourselves, and I thought he gave a really nice response. So this is our last audio clip for the show, but I wanted to finish it off with this last clip from how he responds to this.
Okay, here we go.
Will you speak a bit about the role of challenge vis-a-vis competition and or cooperation? Sure. I'm a big believer in challenge. The only question I ask, and I'll say this again, is whether challenge has to exist at some other people's expense. Does it have to be a zero-sum game? It is competitive thinking that is responsible not only for a lot of obnoxious people that we both know, but for the potentially most deadly form of competition altogether, which is the arms race that threatens to extinguish all of us. The assumption that when the Soviets offer us an arms control initiative, it's good for them and therefore bad for us is exactly the sort of thinking that will annihilate us. And merely moving that competition to other arenas doesn't change the thinking. We have to do that in other ways. And the way we have to do it in particular is thinking of challenges that we can meet, number one, at least, without competition. And sometimes that means working independently. But number two, more significantly, with others. Because challenges often apply, as Robin Galls, I think, is about to tell you, and behavior is often construed and challenges available to us understood in terms of us. Not us versus them, but us. Cooperation does not require simply working together in one group in order to triumph against other groups. That's all we know in this country. Basketball games, international rivalries, companies. That is a distorted, a truncated version of cooperation. Does not require inter-group competition. We can understand challenge without ever appealing to notions of besting other people. And we can also do it even better by working with other people to accomplish mutual goals.
Amen to that.
Yeah, definitely. I like that point because it's not us versus them. It's just us.
Yeah.
All of us.
Right. And we use that language a lot. Everyone does it. It almost becomes automatic at some point. Us, them, we, they, you, me. We're all connected, guys. We're all connected. There is no us and them. There's just us.
All of us.
All us.
So, to have our school structures and our business structures and our all organizations structured more in line with that, with the idea of it's all of us and some sort of collaborative issue, then that's more in line with, I think, if there is any human nature, then that would be it. And then, thank God for the internet. That's, I think, what really started to foster this idea of collaboration and cooperation and getting together and crossing any kind of boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, we would have not, there's just no way that people could connect in the way they do nowadays. 50 years ago, it wasn't even conceived.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine, someone saying 50 years ago, we should create this thing where everybody can see each other and talk to each other and write to each other and work together, and they can do it from the comfort of their home. Gee, what an idea.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's great that came around, and hopefully nothing messes it up like SOPA, but we won't go there.
No, don't even go there.
I won't go there.
You know what? It's almost like they're trying to force us to do a show on SOPA, because I was doing a little research for this show last night. Wikipedia elected to shut down. Today is the day of, they're asking everyone to shut their websites down in protest of SOPA, right?
Right.
Well, Wikipedia is one of those people, and I do go to Wikipedia a lot for little minor definitions of things and explanations, and I couldn't go there last night. And then I said, okay, well, we'll search Google, and then the word Google is blocked out on the Google website.
Oh, yeah. No, there's people on Facebook with their pictures blocked out and all their words blocked out. It's sort of funny, but... It
is kind of funny.
But, yeah, like I said, that could be a whole show in itself, and maybe once the dust settles, I think we'll look at it more closely.
I think that's going to be one of the other shows that, by the way, Danette does, I think would be perfect for the SOPA thing, is the ZBN News.
Yes.
Segment, I guess it is, you could call it.
Yes.
So look for that on the next episode of ZBN News. As much as I know we've been resisting it, like, I'm not even going to pay attention. It's just silly. People are too paranoid. And anyway, we'll have to talk about it.
Yeah. So going back to the innate quality of the internet to breed collaboration.
Right.
And I think has now gestated long enough. Gosh, I don't know, when did the internet come out mainstream? I don't even know.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Long enough that it is now completely affecting how business does business and how people operate on their daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing some research for this topic and saw a lot of people writing about the new form of business and a new form of way of operating. There's this person named Padmasree Warrior is her name.
Good job.
Yeah, she's the CTO for Cisco.
Okay.
She wrote a blog, and she sort of described collaboration, and it was a good way to put it. She said, it is important to point out that collaboration must not be confused with consensus or teamwork. Collaboration does not mean everyone must agree before any decision is made, nor does it suggest that there is no room for individual creativity. And that's a good point.
That is an excellent point.
Right, because there are distinct differences
Okay.
in those terms, consensus, teamwork, and collaboration.
Okay.
And for there to be disagreement in collaboration is not that uncommon. You know, people can come together from completely different backgrounds to collaborate on a project, and they're going to have different points of view.
I would think that would be healthy for the project.
It is healthy, as long as it's resolved disagreement.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't remain unresolved. But it can bring up points that the other people in the group didn't think about, depending on who's bringing it up from which perspective.
Of course.
So I think that's what I particularly appreciate about collaboration, because usually the word teamwork usually refers to those who've already come together with the same goal. They sort of have the same team environment.
Right, and so what they're saying is
it's one perspective.
Right, but that team doesn't necessarily, if they're collaborating within that team, then they don't necessarily all, even though they all may have the focus on one goal, they may not all agree on how to get there.
No, well, what I was saying was teamwork generally refers to a team, you know, a team that's already in the same environment, they come from the same perspective, and collaboration many times refers to different groups of people coming from entirely different environments.
Got it.
And entirely different teams.
Got it.
So they have different perspectives to contribute, which would most likely add to the project, hopefully. And that's why when something is created from collaboration, it's often optimized to the best that it can be, because it has so many different perspectives contributed into it.
Right.
And it's not myopic in any way. It's taking into account, say, if it is a business, it's not only taking just into account the sales people, but the customer, you know, and the research and development group, and someone else who's the people who are actually building the product.
Exactly.
They're all talking about it so that the product itself is optimized to be the best it can be from all corners.
Well, that just makes more sense. Well, I wonder why more companies, if you will, in this society don't do that. Why build these structures of hierarchy and?
Well, why do you think?
Well, I kind of know why.
Yeah, it's the profit motive.
Yeah.
And if you share any of your secrets, so to speak, or share any of your information, then you're sort of giving up your hand. Right? In the profit arena or in the market, the open market.
Talk about competition.
Right.
Holy shit.
Our entire economy.
The entire economy, advertising, the whole consumer culture is all about competition.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And it's sickening. I almost don't even like to go out anymore. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, because it's what we're taught.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was taught the same way growing up. Just it's a competitive world.
Right.
And you got to be better than the next kind of thing. You know, so it's hard not to fall into that, especially if you're not shown any alternatives.
Right.
And there's there's ways around it. I mean, another article that I came upon, it was in the business side because that's my background, but was talking about, the title is Smashing Silos, and in business that word is used quite a bit, silos. The term silo is a metaphor suggesting a similarity between grain silos that segregate one type of grain from another.
Okay.
Which is, on farms.
Right.
In an organization, suffering from silo syndrome, each department or function interacts primarily within that silo.
Okay.
Rather than with groups across the organization.
Sounds very restrictive.
Well, it's just how a lot of companies are structured because, marketing's over here, production's over there,
right.
Human resources is over here. Yeah. They're all different departments.
Yeah.
And so they tend to operate within their own department and don't really have an open communication among departments except through the higher-ups in each department.
Okay.
So that just keeps it within the silo still and doesn't allow for collaboration even within a company.
Yeah, it just sounds very limiting, very restrictive, like I said.
Yeah. It's command and control-oriented cultures breed silos. Huh. They just keep creating more silos.
Right. And the CEOs are at the top of these silos, correct? Right.
The managers focus on guarding turf rather than on engaging colleagues outside their group. So they're guarding their turf, keeping what's theirs.
Right.
Instead of reaching across the organization. So, and that's pretty common, especially in corporate America.
Of course.
And in many businesses. They move information vertically, not horizontally.
And
in those organizations. And so it just you don't get as much feedback.
Right. Maybe that's what they don't want. They don't want feedback. They think they've got it figured out. They're quote unquote right. And, they don't require any feedback from anybody else. Which that's called ego, right?
That and training. Training is what they're trained to do. They're trained to operate that way in an environment that breeds it. So it makes sense. But there's the article that I found is written by Evan Rosen.
Okay.
And he wrote The Culture of Collaboration and is the executive director of the Culture of Collaboration Institute. So he has 5 ways, he suggests 5 ways to smash these silos in these business organizations. And I think that these 5 suggestions are helpful in other areas, not just in businesses, but probably in organizations in general.
I would think so. Let's hear them.
Okay, so the first one is eliminate needless formality and hierarchy. He says formality fuels silos and poisons collaboration because people become overly concerned with protocol and politics.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so when formality is unchecked, team members feel it's better to play it safe than to risk gaining unwanted attention.
Aha.
So, the organization becomes distracted and people are less likely to reach across silos to innovate, develop new markets, and make better decisions. So that's a stopper right there.
Yeah.
So eliminate that. Second one, provide one-click access to entire organization. So finding and connecting with experts and colleagues spontaneously is key to curing silo syndrome. We should be able to view the availability or present status of everybody in the organization and connect with them immediately through instant messaging, voice, or real-time video.
And the ability to do that is there. It exists.
It exists. The technology exists for that easily. It's just that in many areas it's looked down upon. You don't jump to that level. You can't talk to the CEO,
No.
or you're just a lowly worker,
right?
Or something like that. And I'm not sure if those people would be available anyway. But there should be cross references that, regardless of the position, if they have something to contribute.
Gotcha.
Sometimes the most knowledgeable person in an organization is the secretary.
A lot of times.
Oftentimes.
I've discovered that to be true a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
Or the nurse. You know, the nurse gets to know more than the damn doctor.
Right, exactly.
You know,
so
about what's going on.
It's not about rank. It's about access to information.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, I know it'd be nice even in the movement to be able to reach across and be able to talk to someone in Brazil, you know,
right.
and say, oh, I'm doing this project. I know you did that project, so let's collaborate.
Yeah.
Okay, and then third one, design dedicated physical spaces for collaboration. Now, in a virtual community, that's difficult, obviously. Dedicated physical spaces.
Difficult than physical, sure.
But there's ways to do it that we're doing. I mean, sort of with CVN.
Right.
You know, we're designed a virtual space for collaboration. So it can be done either physically or virtually, I believe. And then number 4 was adopt common systems and processes. Basically having each area operate the same way so that they understand each other's processes. I mean, that's sort of vague wording.
Yeah, a little vague.
But it's along the lines of, well, if you use, I don't know, I'm not sure how I can describe it in a virtual world, but when you're not using the same computer system, like say a company has all these different computer systems and would be able to help each other.
Yeah.
So you have to have the same tools and processes.
Yeah, and there's some disparity there. I mean, some people are on Mac, some are on PC, some are on Linux.
Yeah.
You know, in
the virtual world, yeah.
Right, in the virtual world. And those elements in and of themselves have begun to merge a little bit on their rough edges, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To where they, you know, now you can share, a Mac can take a PC file and open it, and didn't used to be that way.
Right.
So
that, you know why? Because people weren't able to collaborate.
Exactly. That was my point.
That's exactly. And so these companies, Microsoft, and finally just, okay, we need to be able to have these functions work across platforms.
Exactly.
Which is basically what he's saying here. Adopt common systems.
Right.
So they did. Because there were way too many people upset that they couldn't collaborate.
Exactly.
Just because they were using a different type of computer.
Right.
So yeah. So that.
I think we're ever going to get to a day where there's just one kind of computer, and it's just called a Here's your laptop, and it's all the operating systems are the same. It's all the best. You know, the upgrade. No need to upgrade every 30 days and pay another $300 and blah 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 blah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but sure be nice.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this recording or this broadcast that knows a way to do that, let's do that, because that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday when everything's optimized to its fullest, you know, then there wouldn't need to be competition, because whoever's creating products and tools would make them the best that they could possibly be.
Because they know they will benefit.
It's not about competition.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. Someday maybe we're daydreaming. We're doing that Zeitgeist daydreaming.
I know, but
but
I'm going to live to see it. But for God's sakes, it'd be nice if my kids could have something like that, or their kids.
And you never know.
Never.
Who knows, right? Who knows? Okay, so let me just finish this up. The last point is establish cross-functional mentoring, which I'm not sure how that works in the business world, but I know that mentoring helps a lot just in general. You know, and that's not always available for people.
No, it's not. And
it really helps when it is, if you have a mentor in some area or field to show you the way.
Right.
So that's, so those are the 5.
Guide you in the right direction so that, you know, you're headed in the right direction. A lot of people really are clueless.
Right.
You know.
And that's why I think collaboration works better too. It helps people help others.
Right.
If you take away the competition mode. Because in competition, you're not going to help somebody that could beat you.
No, that's
counterproductive. For competition.
Sense. You don't want to help someone that could possibly beat you.
Right, exactly. So then, but in collaboration, it breeds helping. You know, the more everyone helps each other, then the more the project gets better, whatever it may be.
As from that, right?
Yeah. So I found that article. And then I was just looking around and different ways that we already use collaboration, and obviously a lot of it's online.
Yeah.
You know, we have collaborative docs, like Google Docs,
Pirate Pads, right.
And collaborative management tools, Basecamp, ManyMoon, collective funding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo.
Damn.
Collaborative photo sharing, Flickr, and of course Wikipedia. There's Meetup, so you can collaborate on when to meet up in person. You know? There's GoToMeeting and Groupon. There's collaborative buying, like group buying. So people collaborate in order to get a better deal on something by buying in mass quantities of people. And then I came across this very interesting way that people are collaborating that I had no idea.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was looking on YouTube for some clips, and there's collaboration going on in Second Life. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Second Life, for those who don't, is, I guess, a role-playing video game.
Kind of, yeah. It's
something like that. You build a life, right, in Second Life.
There's all kinds of it's like a virtual world.
It's a virtual world. Well, it's so much a virtual world.
Yeah.
One I've never visited, by the way.
I have.
Okay, well, they are having actual professionals and experts come together in halls and speaking and interacting with each other and collaborating in order to build physical places.
Yeah.
Or buildings and stuff. And just they swear by it. And they were making several YouTubes about these talks that they're having and conventions, that they actually have, and you see them walking around and talking to each other.
It's kind of creepy sometimes because you're playing this character, but it's not a game, but you are manipulating this character that you create around in this virtual world. So is everybody else, and you can all meet in one area and sit by each other and talk to each other. Literally talk to each other. Your mic is hooked up to the system, and you can talk to each other like we're talking to each other on Skype. And you can have meetings, and you can have all kinds of stuff. They tried to do a Venus Project one, a Zeitgeist one a while back. I don't know if it's still going on, but
really?
Yeah.
I never heard about that.
I know. You weren't around then. You weren't in the movement.
Okay. Was this pre-TeamSpeak?
It was no. Actually, they had their meetings in TeamSpeak, and they proposed it in the meetings in TeamSpeak. But it was when we first switched into and doing TeamSpeak. So, us being on TeamSpeak for maybe 2 or 3 months before this came up.
All right.
So, but it's been that long ago.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it didn't work out because our aberrant society found its way in and dirtied it for everybody, and it was a shame.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I just thought it was interesting when I stumbled upon this, that they're using this as a serious tool. It's not... Yeah,
it can be used. Yeah, it has some really awesome advantages. You can show video as if you're sitting in a little presentation conference room. You can show video like it's on a little screen. It's really cool if it's used in a positive way. But of course, people got to jump in and abuse it and treat it in an aberrant way, and it ruins it for everybody, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I bet there's probably plenty of that, given that there's anonymity.
Yeah, plenty of that. But I enjoy that you brought this up because yes, it can be used as a very cool collaboration tool. Very cool.
I'm sure there are a ton of collaboration tools that we don't even know of yet that already exist.
Yeah.
They're just a few of the ones that I came up with at the top of my head and looked into a little bit, but there's probably so many more.
Well, in the art world, I happened to stumble on this online art collective thing. Participating in online art collectives offers numerous advantages, it says, Collective is a great forum to get your work reviewed by professionals and critiqued by peers.
Yeah, see, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice for an artist to have that instant feedback.
Yeah, it says, by working together, unique opportunities arise for fusing style and stretching your creative abilities. You can grow close connections with other talented artists and learn to solve design and illustration problems by tackling themes in a collaborative environment. So it was really cool. I read this article. You can find it. I don't even have a link for it because I copied and pasted it in the document, but I just did a Google search on
art collectives,
and
there's probably plenty out there. Depending on what someone's into, I'm sure there's something that could exist that's collaborative now, just because, like I said, with the internet and
everything.
Media that
anybody who wants to come up with an idea that will benefit society that has a need for collaboration, step up, man, because there's no excuse to not collaborate with people from all over the planet.
Right.
Because when you think up something, here's the funny thing. We hear this all the time. No one has a, quote, original idea, unquote. Right? Everyone thinks of something based on what they remember or have learned from someone else or heard or saw or whatever. But you just never know. You come up with some ingenious idea. There may be someone on the other side of the planet thinking the exact same thing, but you have a different approach to it. And wouldn't it be great to get together, however you get together, and work toward this common goal of creating whatever it is this thing is and tackling all the challenges that come with it together in a collective way, in a collaborative way, rather than on your own.
We need more of that in the scientific world.
Yeah.
Right? That's definitely where it needs to happen.
Absolutely.
There's nothing worse than recreating the wheel on two ends when they can collaborate. I'm sure there's plenty of collaboration already in some circles of science, but those that are probably backed by money from pharmaceutical companies or something, or some monolithic, huge organization, they're going to be more secretive,
of course,
about what they're working on.
Of course.
And in the name of science, that's just detrimental.
It is. But when you get money in the equation, then you get competition in the equation. Who can, compete for market share, compete for the profit? It ruins the whole thing. It ruins it.
Yeah.
I hope more people see that in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And
I think Jock's right when he says people 100 years from now are going to look back and go, what the hell were you guys thinking?
Right. Yeah, because the tools that we'll be using at that point will make what we're using now look like child's play.
Exactly.
As far as not even just tools or online, but we did something here too with the Ventura chapter not that long ago, where we decided to collaborate on a position. We got rid of the position and we decided of coordinator, and we decided to collaborate on the duties that position does, rather than have it only relate to whoever's holding the position. And it alleviated a lot of the stress.
I'll bet.
For the coordinator, and it empowered a lot of the people in the group to feel more included and more a part of decision-making. There wasn't too much decision-making before because it was a group decision-making process anyway. But, as initiation, they felt more a part of initiating projects.
Okay.
Rather than following the initiation from someone else and working on a project that was already initiated.
Right.
Each person felt more empowered to initiate projects and then have others help with that project.
Cool.
Such as a coordinator normally does.
Right.
So in that respect, it's a different look at collaboration, but from our experience, it really helped a lot.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, as I've evolved through this movement and learned all these different things, I really am seeing the need to get rid of titles and get rid of that whole mentality of titles. And And just if someone's doing something, this is so-and-so, and this is what they do. They don't need to have a title attached to them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we evolve away from that whole idea of titles and hierarchy and so-and-so is more important than so-and-so because of this title or, why? And it just seems so ridiculous. Didn't used to be. I didn't used to think that way, but I used to think that was important that people had titles so they could be recognized for what they, what they were. But it doesn't explain anything. Doesn't explain what they do.
Right.
And no title does. So-and-so is the CEO of blah, blah, blah. Okay, what is that? Don't tell me what he does.
Right.
Obama, the President of the United States. Okay, don't tell me what he does. I don't explain what he does.
It'll be interesting to see the form that organizations take in the future.
Yeah.
And it's hard to wrap our head around it now.
It is. Given
what we're used to. But just say, okay, how will it look then? Someone said in the chat, Joe says, isn't TZM's Phoenix project all about collaboration? The Phoenix project, for those who don't know, it is about collaboration. It's an online web system that allows people to create their web pages for their own chapters, but we can communicate cross-channel, chapter to chapter, I believe. It's an open source system that uses, the basis is Drupal. But, yes, that is collaborative, more collaborative in nature than maybe a vertical source of websites, that each chapter maintains their own website.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow for cross-platform. And TeamSpeak, of course, allows us to collaborate consistently.
Right.
We definitely are in there every week doing blog work, coming together for meetings for the blog.
Right.
And getting that work done.
And you're right, Joe. In TeamSpeak, badges are seen as status symbols. They, hopefully we're evolving out of that slowly, but it's still seen that way. But I don't even go to TeamSpeak much anymore, except for the meetings, and I don't pay attention to those silly badges anymore anyway. So whatever, it is what it is. But we are just about out of time for this show, Danette.
Yeah.
We've got about 3 minutes left, and any closing words before, because that voice is going to come on, and that's
right.
It's going to get into the recording, and it's going to annoy me. So.
Okay. I'll just give our information again for anyone who wants to get in touch with us, like we were saying in the beginning of the show. Anyone who wants to get involved with the blog or ZBN or even Z Radio, we welcome your help. We welcome your input. We welcome any other hands and minds and help. So for the blog, if there's anyone out there who'd like to contribute as an editor or proofreader or publisher or even translations, please contact us at blog-info@thezeitgeistmovement.com. You can also just go to the blog page, which is blog.thezeitgeistmovement.com, and go to the bottom and you can send us an email that way. For ZBN, you can send an email to zbnnetwork@live.com.
That's all one word, right? ZBN Network.
Yes.
At live.com.
Live.com. And ZBN is Zeitgeist Broadcasting Network, so ZBN Network at live.com. So we're looking for anyone who can help with the back end, too. Anyone who wants to have a show of your own, that's great. We also welcome anyone who wants to help on the back. Uh-oh.
And there she is.
Okay, we got to go, guys. Thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll do another one coming up sometime. Keep an eye on us, an eye out for us on Z Radio, and some other stuff on ZBN. We'll see you guys soon. And thanks, Danette.
Thanks, Thunder.
All right, we'll see ya.
See ya, bye.